Well, it's been announced. Honda is merging with Nissan. As you can tell from my Excel, I'm not okay with this, but it's okay. I honestly I feel like the less competition we have in the marketplace, the more the price will go up in any goods and services, regardless of what kind of business that is, right? So when Microsoft decided to purchase Activision Blizzard, yes, I'm using a gaming analogy. It takes another company, you know, under its wings. And this is what usually happens within those companies. Usually there's going to be a lot of layoffs, a lot of people losing their jobs, a lot of consolidations happening because you don't need two or three departments for marketing. You don't need like I'm sure they're going to keep some of their engineers, but this is what I foresee happening in the future. As soon as this merger has been, done, the deal's been done, and as you can see here, this is Nissan Chief Executive Makito Yoshida left, and Honda Chief Executive Nashiro Mahabi. Mihabi? I can't say it. I apologize. Shakes hands during a joint news conference in Tokyo Thursday, August 1st, 2024. Japanese automakers Nissan and Honda say they plan to share components for electric vehicles. That's when this joint ventures happened, and now it's going to a full-on merger, which not okay with, because one company is doing exceptionally well, the other company is struggling. It's not delivering. I mean, it's delivering vehicles out in the marketplace, but it's not selling because nobody likes their trash vehicles. Let's be completely honest, except for the Nissan 400Z or the new Z, as well as the GTR. The one thing that I will give Nissan is I'm not just gonna, beat the brand to shits here. I'm gonna give them their props too. Okay, I think when it comes to their Leaf, to their fully electric, component of the business, I think they've been doing, electric vehicles for a long time compared to Honda. I mean, Honda has dabbled here and there. They've been experimenting with different things. Hydrogen fuel cell is one of the other things that Honda is investing into their future. Honda has come out with their Prologue that's out in the marketplace, which they've partnered up with GM for the platform to use that on their Prologue. And then Honda is also partnering up with Sony to develop their, to I think is Avion. I can't think of the name for the to the new venture for the electric vehicles that they have coming out. But this one is yeah, I don't know. But anyway, let's listen to the video. Let me take that back real quick. Let me turn on the sound. All right, here we go.
It's not something they'd be doing if they didn't feel they had to. In business, there are marriages of convenience. This is more of a merger of necessity. CEO of Honda says competition from China and other companies is changing the automotive industry and that the merger is needed to fight back. The talks will at first involve Honda and Nissan. Mitsubishi Motors is considering joining. Nissan is its main shareholder. Together, they would become the third largest car manufacturer in the world, behind only Toyota and Volkswagen. But those companies aren't the reason for the merger. Japanese automakers are playing catch-up when it comes to electric vehicles. Tesla and a Chinese company, BYD, are what the Japanese government itself has called an existential threat. The talks started because we believe we must build up capabilities, he says, otherwise we will be beaten. China's auto sector has now, according to some in the industry, passed Japan as the top exporter globally. China's domestic market is massive as well, the biggest in the world, and more than half of the vehicles sold in it in 2024 were hybrids or EVs. To compete, Honda, Nissan, and Mitsubishi had already agreed to share components and research. Monday's merger talks go much further. They also may impact.
So they went from like sharing technologies to a full blown merger. My thing is, doesn't Japan have a anti monopoly sort of um, law in place as well too? I mean, I know United States there's anti-monopoly laws as well as anti-compete or something like that in place to prevent these kind of things that are happening. I mean, Nissan is, you know, everybody knows about Nissan. Mitsubishi has been kind of like on its last leg. I felt like Mitsubishi was kind of dying, in my opinion, and this is kind of like a life raft for them. This is like a way to save Mitsubishi, in my opinion. But Nissan, I mean, their sales have been trash. Let's be honest. Their vehicles are trash. When it comes to Honda, has always been dominating the market, selling a lot of vehicles. I know that Honda has switched gears from making, those naturally aspirated 2-liter engines to kind of like switching over to hybrids and also developing their EV, but they're still like years and years and years and years behind comparing to the competition. So I guess this merger makes sense, but that doesn't mean I have to like it because I'm totally against it because I just feel like it would bring the quality down, the standard that Honda has put in place. Hopefully that that will translate to these other like the merger, and Honda will be the head that leads the way. I hope that Tachihiro is going to be leading the company in this new merger, but only time will tell. And seeing what's going to happen behind the scenes and seeing what kind of changes are going to be made to the board and all that. But I don't know.
North American activities. Honda's CEO was in Ontario in April announcing a $15 billion investment that included a new EV assembly plant and a battery plant.
This is generational investments that
Provincial and federal governments promised $5 billion in incentives to make it happen. What might the merger mean?
I think in the very short term, I don't expect any changes in the market. Right now, there's just a lot of question marks, and I don't think a lot of people have the answers.
Now, if the talks go well, the goal is to have a formal merger agreement by June and to be listed on the Tokyo Stock Exchange by August of 2026 as a new company. Mike Armstrong, Global News, Montreal.
I've stated, ugh, well, it sucks, but it makes sense because if you think about it, the Chinese market has been like they've been like miles, or should I say years ahead of the Japanese market when it comes to electric vehicles, as well as, here in the United States, obviously we have a lot of competition and the big brands have been building up their EVs, etc. But definitely I can see why they feel threatened in some sort of ways in order to kind of like save themselves. They think that this is the best course of action is to merge with two crappy companies. But what's going to happen to Renault? Because Renault does own Nissan as part of that. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. If they're going to be sharing some of the technologies with Renault as well too, or is it or Honda's going to buy Renault out of that contract, or Nissan's going to buy themselves out of that contract, because Nissan is also like they hold a large majority of shares in Mitsubishi Motors as well too. I think what kind of killed these two brands, and I'm not talking about Honda, I'm talking about like Nissan and I'm talking about Mitsubishi. Like back in the day, Nissan used to have quality. They used to build good solid cars. I used to have a Nissan Sentra before I crashed it and totaled it. It was my first car. But anyway, back then, like Nissan was the shit, for tuners and enthusiasts, and I feel like they have went away from that. They should have kind of like stuck with it and just kept making good solid vehicles. Same thing with Mitsubishi. They kind of shied away from their enthusiasts because Honda is still keeping that side of people that are still love those vehicles. Honda is still making the SIs, the cheaper version of a manual transmission, sporty, good handling and all that. Honda is still keeping that alive. And Nissan in some sort of way too is also keeping that alive on the high end as well as the low end. What I'm talking about is the Z and the GTR. Godzilla! So Godzilla is going to be part of the Honda brand. Um, but overall, like I said, man, this is a huge disappointment. But I get it. This is for self-preservation. They're trying to save their industry from being cannibalized by the Chinese market, which has been just outpacing them in all sorts of ways. But yeah, and I just did a quick Google search, but somebody wanted to explain to me in detail the anti-competition law over there in Japan, because I don't know. I just Googled this right up quick. Japanese competition law governed by the Anti-Monopoly Act includes the following key points. The act prohibits private monopolizations and ensures fair trade. The Fair Trade Commission, JFTC, administer and enforces the act. The act covers anti-competitive agreements, abuse of dominant positions, mergers and acquisitions, and penalties. So this is what's happening. It's a merger and it's an acquisition. So I wonder if the Japanese government is going to be, doing something about this. If they're anything, maybe this is pushed by the Japanese government, and therefore this deal is going to go through without any hindrance. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching over here. You let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are, because to me it seems like one of the largest Japanese auto manufacturers coming together and forming a single company. If that doesn't sound like a monopoly to you, I don't know what is. Let me know in the comments below. As always, make sure to like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next video.